Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob DeMarco. Coming up, Civivi releases its third Isham design, LT Wright, a Canadian belt knife on loan to me, and we take a look at our favorite sub-collections. Now, I've talked about sub-collections on the show before. It has all to do with certain rabbit holes that you go down. The sub-collection I will be highlighting tonight is double-edged tactical and combat knives. You know, just because it's fun. Ian, good to have you here, sir. Your good is on the way. Quack, your good is also on the way. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb, great to have you here. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Hey, what's going on, Dave? Good to have you here. Cultrophiles. I like it. Cultrophiles. Okay, so that's someone who's a file for knives. Like an Anglophile or what have you. I like that. I'm going to have to look that one back up. Nick EDCer, good to have you here, sir. Hey, I want to find out about, Dave has been looking at these petrified bird knives. I think it's a funny name. I think it's an interesting name, right? That's what it is, petrified bird. Let me know if that is right. And I want to find out about these people. So check out their videos. Check out Dave's videos. He's been posting a lot about that recently. I've just been sitting here kind of gathering knives around me, thinking of sub collections. Do you guys have them? Do you have a sub collection? I mean, most of us probably do. We get interested in automatic Sir Bally songs or double-edged combat knives or titanium, what have you, and you start to collect a little bit more in that petrified fish, dude. I'm such an idiot. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Ryan, good to have you here, sir. Ryan, North Code 1229 in the house. Christine, great to have. Yes, petrified fish. What did I say? Petrified bird. I'm an idiot. What can I say? But hey, I'm just here to blab about the knives. I've been noting these very great videos, 5 knives that make me happy. Shane, great to have you here, sir. And I've been really liking that, and I got tagged by Professor EDC to do one. So I will do a 5 knives that make me happy. And I'm interested. I'm looking around me and I see a whole bunch. I don't know how I'm going to pare it down to 5. And I'm going to try not to be sentimental about it because there's, sometimes that's not as interesting to see. Michael says, good evening, Bob and Jim. Michael, great to have you here, sir. Always a pleasure. Manny, hey, Bob and Jim. All I have is 2 knives. Haha. Yeah, right. Your sub collection is 2 knives large. So tell me what your sub collection is tonight. But first, before we do any of that, it's always my very first opportunity to show off a knife on this here show. It is the Pocket Check. There we go. So today I have this right here. I have the Spartan Harzy folder under the new knife cam, which was looking cloudy before, but man, I think it's starting to look pretty good here. I think we have it dialed in. Spartan Harzy, of course, with the podcast logo on it. Let's see, how do you focus it? But a special knife to me, and just a great knife in general. Really has a lot of what I love about a knife. Stout, sturdy build, beautiful design, and sometimes I just like a full titanium knife and no flipper, and this delivers for sure. To me, this one fits in with the Sebenza XM18 Strider SNG crowd, the Holy Triumvirate. This could definitely, I think, fit right in there. I don't know. What do you think? Is that taking it too far? Hasn't been around long enough? I don't know. I would say it definitely fits in that category. I would run it over with a tractor. Who among us would not run that over with a tractor if they had a couple to prove a point with? But it is very stout and sturdy. Ed, great to have you here, sir. Good evening to you. I had 2 knives on me today, just a sort of a small sampling. Nesmuk, I'm going to be showing off your knife in a little while. The other knife I had on me today was the Finch Cimarron. Oh, yeah. Finch Cimarron. This is a great knife. This is fun just to open and close. It's a very fidgety, very smooth knife, but just an excellent design. It's got a longer than most Finch blades. I think it's 3.4 inches. And the blade hides completely in that handle. Another detail that I like. A beautiful sculpted titanium clip. I love the color combination. It reminds me of a puffy jacket or a sleeping bag or a tent. And that's what these things are evocative of. That's where some of the color combos come from. I know that much. Just a great knife. 14C28N, very sharp, and just a nice knife to have in the old back pocket. So that's the combination I had today. I was running a little light. Usually I have a fixed blade. Today I just did not. Jared, good to have you here. Jared just won a free knife sharpening from Jared Neve. That gift certificate is in the mail, sir. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow knife junkie. Sub-collection for me is anything with micarta. I may have a problem. Well, I do understand that problem. As well as a dry mouth problem. The micarta problem, I have it bad too. And I can see it in the future expanding into other materials like stag. Recently getting stag has made me go crazy for the material. Shane says, I tried to collect Jelly Jerry designs, but I couldn't keep up. He's on fire. Jelly Jerry, he's a Tucson knife designer, right? And he's got a lot out there. Very interesting and unique designs. Quack says, I'm carrying the Civivi Dogma that came in today. Excellent, sir. What? Okay, so this is the first person that we're hearing this from. Quack won the Civivi Dogma at Saturday's Birthday Bash. I got that in the mail a couple of days. It took me a couple of days to get everything mailed off, but everything is mailed off, and all tracking numbers have been dispersed. Knife Fast, great to have you here. Sweet, love my Cimarron. Hey, Bob. Hey, I love my Cimarron too, but you have the green and blue one. Is that right? I love that green and blue combo too. I mean, I love all the color combos. Yeah, great knife. ENG EDC, I'm carrying a Civivi Elementum with Flytanium scales. Excellent. Flytanium, man, I remember them a few years back. They would have real small releases and people would scramble to get them, and you landed some Flytanium scales if you were lucky, and then now they are also on fire, producing many scales, and it's awesome to see. James Culp, great to have you here, sir. What are you carrying? Let us know. Caleb Townsend, today I had to clear top Ultra Tech and a Serge Panchenko Mid-Tech bean. Very nice. I love those beans. They're very appealing, beautiful. Also, the clear top Ultra Tech, that's just cool to see how that all works. David E. Good to have David E. here, sirs. Yeah, and ma'ams. Professor EDC, great to see you. I was just talking about the tag. You sent me an email a few days back. So I will make that 5 knives that make me happy video. It should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that for sure. Shane says, I carried my native chief and dragonfly with my Tops 3 Bros Warney around my neck. Wow, that's nice. That's a good rounded out carry. You got your neck knife, something small, Warney, and then, yeah, so nicely done. I approve of the 3 knives, that's for sure. JN, great to have you here, sir, as always. Shane says, Jelly Jerry is designing for about 4 companies now. Oh, really? What other companies? I'm curious who else is making Jelly Jerry designs. Popping in to say hi before I start cooking food. Hi, Bob, Jim, everyone. Great to see you, man. Enjoy your food, whatever it is you end up cooking. Carried my BRS Blade Runners Kopesh today and a pocket full of petrified fish. Nice. Carried my BRS. So those BRSs are pretty cool. I've been collecting anything with Riot as OEM. Very nice. You know that's top quality. I busted out this Riot tonight just because, I don't know, it was on my mind. And what a great knife this is. This is one of those knives that sometimes pops into mind as one I could get righteous dough for if I needed it. And then I'm like, I may as well keep it. It's so awesome. Knives Fast says, no, I have the same Cimarron as you. I had the Hogue K320 and the Wingman Mach 1 today. Awesome. I love that Wingman Mach 1. That's the one that's a Tom Mayo design. Is that right? Tom Mayo? Carried the Strider SMF Kraken and the Para 3 in 4V all week. Para 3 in 4V. Where does that come from? Mars or is that Venus? Must be Venus. 4V. You know, that's another steel that I was just vaguely aware is a thing, and you were carrying an SNG in it. That's pretty cool. Professor EDC carried my Spyderco Southern and GEC 44. Love the 44. That's the gunstock jackknife. Nice combination there. Michael said Shaman in S30V. How very old school of you, Michael. Really terribly old school. And a Rough Rider Black Widow toothpick. Of course, you know I'm joking, Michael. Like S30V is still an awesome steel. Just kind of like how 440C is still an awesome steel. It's just when you get into the stratosphere, you start cutting things down. Carried my purple baby banter. Oh, nice. I didn't know that they were making that in purple, but I saw that they had been expanding their palette. I love the banter. James carried my CRKT Fossil. Very nice. And Gerber kettlebell today. Awesome, James. You're changing it up. That sounds cool, man. I do love the Fossil. I love the Fossil. I had the 4-inch Fossil for a while. I believe I sold that. I don't think I gave that one away. I sold that. That's a Flavio Icoma design and just so beautiful and weird and organic looking. Love that knife and the recurve for sure. Max the Maker, good to have you here. Today carried 3 knives, a 1 utility knife, Milwaukee Fastback, 2 multi-tool Craftsman 10 in 13. And my first knife over $100, the PM2 and S45 VN. Nice. Okay, obviously a good practical carry. But then to have a PM2 in there in S45 EN just seems very fitting. It is a great tool of a knife, that is for sure. And S45 EN, I have one knife not out here in that steel, and so far I've liked it. I've actually used that knife quite a bit. That's the Ritter RSK Mark III. Ryan, Heretic Wraith with drop point blade, new this week. Very nice. Those Heretic knives are just, man, they are so nice. So nice to look at. I love that new dagger. I can't remember what they call it. It's named after some mythical creature. Peter, good to see you here carrying the PMP Revenge 2. That is a cool looking knife. Very nice and beefy looking knife. And I like the rounded off flipper on that knife. Ketmuk Case Sodbuster and a Becker BK62. So tell me, is the Case Sodbuster in bone? Because I have heard some very nitpicky people say that you can't really make a Sodbuster in bone because part of making a Sodbuster is having a very big pivot. And in bone, you can't get that close to the edges without expecting a little crack in the bone right there. And so that's why, okay, that's sounding nerdy. So I'm just curious, is it a bone or not? Shane says, Tucson, Kubi, and Bestech. I can't remember the other. Oh, okay. Nice. Kubi and Bestech. Bestech, still love their knives. Scott N., great to have you here. Hello, took my wee banter out for the day. Hello, all. So is your banter blue or is it in the black? I think I would have to get the blue if I were to get that knife. Manny Z carried my carbon fiber Skaha and my Rex 45 Shaman. Very nice combination. What's up with Rex 45? I don't know about that steel. What is it like or what is it going for? And the Skaha, where did they go? Hopefully they're back soon. That's North Arm Knives. Father-son team. I know they were really big into kitchen knives, so maybe that's where they've remained. But SR11PY. SR11. Hey, Hag. Good to have you here, Hag. Is that a lion steel? SR11PY? Blame Dexter. With the creepiest avatar. Ordered me the Thai Elementum scales today. Excited to slap them on. So is this okay? So the Elementum is this is their hugest model. Am I right? The Elementum. Is it the Elementum? They have like a million different incarnations of this, and they recently came out with the push button lock only way of opening and closing it. It's that knife, right? Jared carrying the Kaiser Mini Critical, nice Christensen design in 3V and micarta, very nice. That's one of the new releases, I believe. Sub collection has to be Tucson, since I just referenced the database and the count is at about 50. Wow, Dave, that's Well, first of all, it's cool that Dave has all of his knives in the database and can search like that. I think we should all do that. I certainly know I should, and I've been planning on doing that. But also, 50 Tucson knives, Dave. You don't talk about Tucson that often. It's interesting for me to hear that. I love that. I love all the deep secrets of us knife junkies, knife collectors. Moon Pirate. Hey, everybody. Hey, Moon Pirate. Good to have you here. Professor EDC, can't wait to see your selection for the tag, Bob. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry about that. Not exactly sure what it's going to be. Having such a wonderful collection, I know the birthday blade will probably appear again for sure. I mean, the birthday blade is, it's oh, God, I keep stabbing my microphone. Yeah, it is, man. I'm just, I love this thing. It's amazing. Got the SB Junior in bone, no cracks. Okay. Soundbuster Junior in bone, no cracks. That's because they use the smaller pivot, right? Interesting little tidbit. I don't know if that's true or if that was just someone getting high-handed on their case material. Hello, fellow knife nuts. Hello, Blade Hobby. I carried my ZT640 today. Love that knife. Spyderco Manix 2, and around my neck, my CRKT Minimalist Persian blade. Very nice. I would love to get my hands on one of the Persians. I have not gotten that yet, but I have a number of minimalists. I love them. I think they're awesome neck knives. Kane, evening, everyone. Evening, Kane. Today I had my Rex 45 Shaman, Birdvis Hitchcock, very nice. And my newest acquisition that came in yesterday, a Chuck Gutierrez Switch Army in silver twill. Man, Kane. Carbon fiber, drinks on Kane. Carbon fiber with clip point blade. It is so cool. I love those knives. I think they are really cool. And I'm embarrassed to say that when I actually got them in hand, it took me a minute to really get it. I've always understood how it works, in my mind, but getting the feel of it. And then once you get the feel of it, it's like a great little secret. Nice score, man. Ketmuk says it is the yellow synthetic handle. It is the yellow synthetic handle case does. That's what I have, the yellow synthetic. Shane says, I like the riffle better than the Elementum. The riffle is a longer, more slender knife, right? I kind of like that too. And it's got a little weird recurve happening. Not weird, but nice recurve. I don't think I'm at sub collection yet. Okay, so I'm really, if you have a couple of Delicas, that's a sub collection. At this point, the riffle is a great knife, says Christine. Chad. Hello, Chad. Lisa and me have over 125 Tucsons. 125 Tucsons. That's awesome. So question is, do you have a wider collection outside of that, or is Tucson your sub collection and your collection? Just interested. Monster Racing. Good to have you here, Monster Racing. Hello, everyone. We're talking here about sub collections. Check out Memento Database. Free app does it all. Syncs with Google Sheets as well. Interesting. All right, will do. I love it. The database. Dave, I'd love to take a look at that database, man. Just looking at your playlists. Whew. Cool collection there. Jan, right now it's the Chicago Cutlery 61S, the 12-inch J.A. Henkel's Twin Works number 38, an actual cleaver from 1950s Hong Kong. My today's EDC could be accurately called by several of you together. Wait. My today's EDC could be accurately called by several of you together. Well, that just sounds like a bunch of kitchen knives, Jan. Do you work in a kitchen, sir? Or is that just a ridiculously obvious question and answer? Greg Ortiz, good to have you here, Greg. Good evening. Today, PM3 in Crewwear and Blade HQ Bug Out. Very nice. Blade HQ, I just love their exclusives. Hello, Bob and Jim, says Monster Racing. Monster, hello, sir. Blade Hobby says, I guess I have a very small sub collection. I have a minimalist in Bowie shape and the minimalist in Persian. Okay, so there you go. You have the start. You have the start of a sub collection here. Mine is, well, I'll show you what I got. I have it all arrayed right here, right in front of me. And it is a thing. But before we get to that thing, I just want to thank everybody for coming on Saturday and joining us for the birthday bash. It was so much fun. We had 4 guests on here. We had a lot of people joining in, and we gave away a lot of cool stuff. And I just want everyone to know that though it took 3 different trips to the post office, everything has been mailed, including to you, Jock, over in England, and then we have someone up in Canada. And so everything is off, and you all have your numbers. And I just want to thank you. It was really fun, and it was a great way to honor my birthday, Jim's birthday, and Laren's birthday, a number of August knife birthdays that we talked about. So thank you all. It was great to have you. Your stuff should arrive if it hasn't yet. And Quack already got his. So hopefully you'll get yours soon. So thank you. The birthday bash was fun. We'll do it again next year for sure. Blade Hobby says, I guess I have a very small sub collection. Oh, you've got the minimalists. Yes. Okay. So what about me? What about me? Moon Pirate, I got a new Battle Black Hinderer Nice in the mail today. Super stoked. I carried my M4 Lil Native for most of the day, though. Okay, nice. All right, before I get to this sub collection, I want to hear more of what was being carried in pockets today, because that is usually the most pressing item of the morning. My favorite sub collection is the Hellhounds. I also like to collect fancy different grinds. Interesting. That's interesting. Later, the knife fight, Ugly But Practical versus Pretty But Impractical. I'm curious on where you come down on that. Shane says, JN always has his native chief, and he knows we know. Native chief. Nice knife. Chad says, yes, I am addicted to knives on Instagram, formerly Microphone the Knife. Oh, yeah. And we have a lot of knives, LOL. Yeah, I remember you. I remember joining up with you as Microphone the Knife. Was a great event. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I like doing those lives. It had been a while since we'd done a daytime live. Women Carry Knives says, that is awesome. Glad you had a great birthday. Thank you. It was great. It lasted for a week, and birthdays that last a week, that is great. Almost done with that pig we had, and we got to the point where it's like, we've made all of the ancillary things we're going to make with this pig. I think it's time to get rid of it. Chad says, I blame you because I bought the Raja 2 while listening to you today. Pretty sure that completes my Cold Steel folding sword collection. I have them all. Excellent. A Raja 2. That is one of the knives that is in standing for being in my 5 knives that make me happy video, because I absolutely love that knife, and mine was given to me by my brother as a housewarming gift when we moved in here about 10 years ago. Excuse me. Kraken says, hope you're all doing great Thursday or Friday. Kraken, great to have you here. Always a pleasure. Michael says, oh, wait, medium toothpicks for sub collection. Ooh, that's a good sub. I like that. I love toothpicks too. David E., another great database is Knives and Swords Collector app. Knives and Swords Collector app. Well, I will definitely have to check that out. I think if these apps don't have it, they should. Part of it should be how you came about it, because I've gotten a lot of knives as gifts, and I want to remember them as such. But as we all know, I just had a birthday, and so I might start forgetting things here real quickly. Ian says, did you figure out how to strip the big skull clean? No, I'm still ignoring it. It's still in the fridge. It's terrible. Every time I open up that fridge, I'm like, there's a head in there. I got to take care of it. I will, honey. I will take care. I've got it. This weekend, that head and me, best friends. You'll see. Check us out coming up this Sunday. I have JB Stout on the show. JB Stout, very cool knife maker, very interesting guy, makes a lot of really cool stuff. And afterward, he actually sent me this. This just showed up in the mail. And this is called a Broner. And a Broner is a bottle opener thing. And you can see the sort of visual motif that you see on the Lateralis and on the Leviathan, a couple of knives he has with Boker. Also, I think it's on his new Omerta, those 5 lines. I think it's really cool. This is not my usual thing. I don't go for these little tools, but I love this thing. This is a great little pry tool, scraper, bottle opener, thingamajig. I love it. And it's beautifully tooled out of D2 steel. So thank you, JB Stout. Check out our interview. You probably know who JB Stout is. But I finally had a chance to get some of his custom knives in hand. And oh my goodness gracious, they are so nice. And I've always loved the designs, kind of Art Deco, very kind of elegant, but also kind of rugged. And it's cool stuff. And he's a cool dude. Blade Hobby says, I love JB Stout's work. That's a cool tool. I agree. I love how a lot of his stuff now has features these sort of milling grooves as a feature. Gotta learn how to get this thing to focus. Anyway, Hag says, I'm going to start designing knives, and I need someone to make them. Did you listen to the show with Josiah Millet? God, Josiah DeMille of Millet. You might check them out. Great American OEM. James Moore, great to have you here, sir. He says, hey, Bob and Jim. Hello. It's good to have you here, as always, sir. We're just sitting here talking about sub collections. I have a feeling that you, James, might have some sort of sweet sub collection. Mine tonight, the one that I'm featuring, I thought, should it be Bowie's? Should it be, certain kind of folders? Should it be Pikal style knives? And I decided to go with something that's kind of at the base of everything I've been collecting recently. Stoolie J, I did buy a baby Banter today. Looking forward to getting it. Excellent. Oh man, it always feels good when you've hit that order button. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for a new scale. Where is it? For this knife. This is my beloved XM18 3.5-inch reground by Josh at Razor Edge Knives. It's so wickedly sharp. And I've been having second thoughts about this custom Python micarta scale I had made a few years ago. Right now, it's feeling tacky to me. So I just ordered a maroon micarta handle with the traditional Hinderer texture milled in there. So I'm really looking forward to that. As you know, recently I've been into the maroon color knives, and so I'm waiting for that. I ordered that and a couple of discrete carry concept clips. That's these right here, like you see on my Voodoo sheath. These things are great if you like to carry in the waistband. So, yep, I'm waiting for that. That's about it. It's not a very exciting mail call I'm waiting for, but hey, sometimes just to change up the scales really does it. Millet makes great knives, but can be cost prohibitive to new designers. Yeah, that is for sure. Well, we do know that there are a lot of great, manufacturers out there that you can go to. TRM, Medford, Millet, Southern Grind, all do OEM work. Ooh, they all sound expensive. They all do sound expensive. So Medford does. Right. They did that knife with Strider, right? Redacted says, my sub collection consists mostly of ham and cheese hoagies and meatball sausage grinders. Very, very nice. Sub collection. That's good. That's good. I think we have a dad in the house. Hag90 says, I keep hearing about the baby banter. Very nice looking knife. Looks very useful. Yeah. So it is the banter with a choil, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is, I think. I collect debt, says Michael Morgan. Very nice. That's why you're into this stuff. James Moore, can sub collections be too specific? One of mine is South African front flipper liner locks with marble. No, that's perfect. That is perfect for a sub collection. It also leaves you open for many other sub collections. I love it. One of mine is South African front flipper liner locks with marbled carbon fiber scales and hand rub blades. That sounds like yes, that works for me. If anyone thinks that's too much, they can take it up with me. Bob, can you post a link to who did that regrind? Yes. Yeah, razor edge knives. But yeah, I will post a link for that. Let me write it down so I don't forget. Josh at Razor Edge Knives. I got to say, okay, I've always loved the, since we're talking about this, I've always loved the Spanto grind. But the way it is with the machine ground blades, you kind of don't get the benefit of it. And I've always thought that it should have the hollow grind and a little more acute tip. And so that's what he did. And I love what he did. You won't be disappointed. Bob, that knife scale reminds me of my aunt's cigarette pouch. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know your aunt, and obviously, but yeah, this kind of has that vibe. That it would be on someone's aunt's cigarette pouch. That's hilarious. Yeah, I'll bust it out when I'm feeling cheeky. But for the next little while, I think I want those burgundy scales. That's funny. Yeah, here we go. Razor edge knives. Josh, he was on the show. Oh boy, I don't know. Maybe in the 60s, episode 60 something or other. Very interesting guy. Does great work. Is working on his own knives as well. Does collaborative stuff. Does reblades that are awesome. I saw he did a reblade of a 940, and I mean, he made a really cool looking blade. But I was like, the point you buy a 940 and then have a new blade made for it, it's like, it just seems kind of a funny thing to do. But people do funny stuff. He did an amazing job on it. He was episode 39. So check him out for sure. Josh at Razor Edge Knives. His regrinds are awesome. At the time, he wouldn't regrind an XM24. That policy may have changed along the way. We'll see. Hey guys, we are a little late. What exactly counts as a sub collection? Okay, so for instance, we had my sub collection is double-edged fixed fighting knives, fighting EDC or larger sort of double-edged knives. James had one that James Moore's was South African front flippers with liner locks, carbon fiber scales, and hand polished blades. So, I mean, his sub collection got very specific. It could be just Bowie's, you know. So whatever it is that that works for you. PB Pickett, fountain pens and tactical pens are my sub collections. Very nice. I do love pens. I have this tonight with me. This is a Daryl Ralph DDR. What is it? It's like bronze. It's like really heavy. He sent it to me after an interview, and it's a cool little, sort of very nice gift. I do love pens, though. I've been carrying around the fountain pen, Twisby fountain pen. It's a cool pen. My sub collection. Hey, Incognito Griffin says, my sub collection is cold steel machetes. In my opinion, they are second best for machete quality. Imakasa being number one. Imakasa, are they Salvadorian? I just like cold steel machetes for the cool shapes you can get. Tap that like button, says Michael. Yes, please do. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. But yes, please hit like. That'd be nice. I have 2 prototypes and discontinued knives. Ooh. So what is your most prized prototype? I would be interested to find that out. Discontinued knives are also cool, but something about getting a prototype before it's even, fully blossomed or fully fledged is cool. So I'd love to know what your favorite prototype is. As Jim, every once in a while I'll call Jim James. James is my brother-in-law and Jim is my buddy. And Jim is reminding me to tell you about Patreon. And so please do check us out on Patreon. I just made a video announcing that we've just begun in earnest collecting exclusive content for the Patreon members. At the end of the Michael Janich interview we did the other night, which will come out in September, I asked if we could record an additional 15 minutes, and we talked all about ring knives, karambits, and Pikal style knives. And Michael Janich wrote the book on knife fighting, modern knife fighting, and he designed the Ronin and the Yojimbo and the Yojimbo, and he's a serious man who knows about this serious topic, and it was great talking to him about it. But if you're interested, you can get 15 to 20 extra minutes of Michael Janich. That episode will be out on September 5th, but leading up to that, we'll have this exclusive content up on Patreon. It is a good listen, and we're going to do that with every new person that we interview, as long as they say it's cool to do. So there you go. Another reason to sign up for Patreon. Shredder, okay, so our sub collection would have to be medium-sized fixed blades. They have become our favorite daily carry, such as the Gerber Prodigy or off-grid backcountry. Yeah, that off-grid backcountry. I love that one. That's one my dad got me last Christmas. So medium-sized fixed blades. You can carry them all the time. I love that. I want to live where you live. Kepmuk says, no real surprises, but I have Kephart and Nesmuk sub collections. I would expect nothing less, sir. I would expect nothing less. I'm really loving this Canadian belt knife, by the way. Most prized, tough, like my SBR Evu Typhoon from 2019. Nice. Followed by my 2 titanium damned design prototypes. Very nice. I still have the damn designs. I'm moving them out this week. I swear. I like them a lot. They're great. Evolved EDC. I finally made it back. Evolved, great to have you here. It's been a while, friends. Been very busy. Well, I hope that's good busy. Usually busy means good busy. And hope all is going well with you, sir. Imakasa is Salvadorian cold steel machetes. Lineup is cool, especially the Gladiator machete that I got under $30. Yeah, they have the Gladius machete. That's what it is. So cool. Knives Fast. I'm all over the place. Not sure I have a sub collection. Maybe Spyderco. Yeah. Brands can be sub collections for sure. Yeah. I have a Spyderco sub. Yes, a Spyderco sub collection, an Emerson sub collection. Or here, I'm going to start putting mine out. Check out a couple of these here. So, of course, my birthday knife, the Hogtooth Knives, custom, double-edged, loveless sub-hilt fighter. I love this thing. Such a beautiful knife, beautiful sheath. Just, I'm going to be talking about this for a while, so just buckle up. Let's see. Here's another nice handmade double-edged knife. This is the Prime by Ron Steele Jr. So these could both be members of their own other sub collections, like small EDC fixed blades. But this, obviously is not an EDC. So some of these are, could be broken off into their own little sub collections. Like these two kind of belong together. That's the Voodoo from Kramer Custom Knives. Great little double-edged knife. Howdy, Bob. Hey, good to have you here, Brent. We're just talking about sub collections. I know you've probably got a few. And so I'm really, really fond of the double-edged ones right now. I was stropping my daggers before we started rolling. Now, is that not the nerdiest thing you've heard in a long time? Stropping my daggers right before we started the live show. Yep. So, yep. I love the sub collection. I love the idea because that way you can justify buying ever more knives. So yeah, I am a big fan of the sub collection. I want to know what you guys think of it. Is this ridiculous? Is it just a justification, means of justification? Here's another great one. This new JB Knives Ditch Pick. Ditch Pick. I love the name. What does it evoke? Ditch Pick. Things have gone so terribly wrong. You're fighting in a ditch. You're fighting in a ditch, and you need this thing to save your life. Yeah. That's what the name means to me. Women Carry Knives said, my most prized is my Hogue Deca. Nice. With copper and carbon fiber scales. That sounds nice. Prototype number 001. Damn. Came out for 2019 blade, but never went into production. That sounds awesome. And to have 001 is pretty cool. Love that. Incognito says, I was planning on getting the cold steel version of that knife, the OSS Combat. Get it. I've had that knife for a long time, and I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Even down to an interesting thing on that, the whole handle is that sort of rubberized craton, including the sub hilt. So there's a little tiny bit of give in that sub hilt, but believe it or not, it actually makes it feel more lively in your hand. So I highly recommend the Cold Steel OSS for sure. Okay, so here's a knife that's on loan that I want to show you. This comes to me from Kepmuk Neshart. Thank you, sir. It is so greatly appreciated. We did a little knife swap. I sent him the Shining Mountain Bowie to check out. He also won a Harn's Harvest knife at the Birthday Bash. So I sent that stuff off to him. I'm looking forward to finding out what he thinks of that great big Bark River Knives Shining Mountain Bowie. It is so cool. I love that thing. It's the same blade as the Bowie knife that Brad Pitt carries in Inglourious Bastards. Different handle in that knife. I mean, in that movie, his knife had a big stag, just a big stag handle. So cool. But just a beautiful big Bowie, and it's one of those knives that I've felt like, I don't know. This one is really hard to justify having because I have other Bowies, and this one is just a little even. I don't know. Maybe it's too big. Maybe it's so obvious I'll never use it for anything that. I mean, I could say that about so many of the knives, but I don't know. So for some reason, maybe I will sell that one. But in any case, let's talk about this right here. Look at this thing. This is from LT Wright. LT Wright. And it is a beautiful, first of all, that sheath is something else. It's got a belt loop and then a dangler clip. But this is a knife pattern I have always loved. The Canadian belt knife. And I'm not sure if the LT Wright version that we're looking at right here is slightly different from the traditional design, but this one to me is especially beautiful. That leaf-shaped blade, I gotta say, it reminds me a little bit of a barong. I love the Filipino barong bolo, and it's kind of that same shape. So Nesmuk asked me to he wants this back by early October, which, by the way, is not a problem at all. But he's going to be using it this fall for hunting. So I really look forward to hearing about his experience with it. It seems to me like a newish knife, and I didn't ask him about that. So, but it's my first LT Wright, the first LT Wright I've ever had in hand, and I really like it. It feels so good in hand. Like you could use this for anything. It just feels great. But I do love that shape. I love that Canadian belt knife shape. What do you think of this thing? Pretty beautiful, huh? I wouldn't mind having this knife, that's for sure. But there aren't too many that I would mind having. Yeah, beautiful knife. Anyway, there you go. I love the overall profile. The handle added to the leaf blade makes it. It really does. And it feels, oh my God, it just feels so good. It melts right in your hand. That shape. So nice. Love that blade shape, says Women Carry Knives. I know, me too. Chris, sweet blade. Chris, your knife is on the way, sir. Oh, wait. Different spelling of wolf. You might be a different Chris Wolf. Michael says, I think the original design is very elliptical and not as wide, but that's gorgeous. Agreed. So now the original, Michael, were we talking about this? Was the original from the Hudson Bay company? Shredder Knives said, ooh. Yvonne says, very nice. Yeah, I agree. Maybe I keep it. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. He's like, yeah, I got some collateral on you, buddy. But just look at that thing. That is gorgeous. LT Wright, Canadian belt knife on loan from Kepmuk Neshart. Kesmuk Neshart. Sorry. I always mess that up. Not a double-edged knife, so it wouldn't fit into my sub collection, but this would. So this is another one from this particular sub collection. Oh man. So is it a justification? Is this just me figuring out new reasons, new ways to spend money? I don't know. Let me know. What do you think? You can call the listener line 724-466-4487 and let me know in person with your very own voice. That'd be awesome. I keep getting one I keep getting one. Steven, I need an appointment with Jared, like today, please. Like, I'm not calling back. Like, I'm done calling back. Let me put it that way. I've been a very nice guy up until now, calling people back. Sorry, you called the list. You know, I can't do that. But you know, I'm done with that. But anyway, Shane says, Bob, did I see that you have a bicep tattoo? Yes, sir, right there. Yes, I do indeed. Blade Hobby says, hey, Bob, I know you are a Bowie man. I would like to grab a large Bowie to have as a display on my desk. What would you say are good options for under $100 if possible? Condor makes some really cool Bowies. Now, are they show off worthy? You know what you might do? You might get the Wild West Bowie by Cold Steel. I think it's $120, and it's got this profile. It's got the same sort of S-shaped guard. This one is had the previous owner bent that down, but it has that same sort of guard. It's that classic Western W49 design. I've seen a lot of positive reviews on that knife. It's a cold steel. It's got a classic, old school look, and it's got wooden handles with 3 big brass fastening pins. And it could be a cool one to have out on your desk because it's not only impressive to look at, but if you needed to, it's a cold steel. You could pick it up and use it, till the cows come home. So I guess I would say that one. Try the Wild West Bowie by Cold Steel. I'm like a Yenta. Yeah, I do love Bowies. I guess my favorite right now is this one and the one that I got from my brother. It's $91 on Amazon right now. Nice. Okay, so I would say for sure get that. Thank you, Peter. Blade Hobby. Perfect. I will look it up. Awesome. And it comes with a really good sheath. And you know who made a couple of really good videos on that knife is Advanced Knife Bro. And of course, he makes fun of it, but he also loves it. Hey, Ash, good to have you here. Talking about sub collections tonight. Ash, do you have any sub collections? The one I'm showing off tonight are double-edged fighting and tactical knives, whether they're small like this or large like this. That's the sub collection I'm showing off. Let me know what you have. So we got that, and then we have this, as I showed you, the Canadian belt knife. But what was I getting at? I was getting at something else here. Anyway, Peter, thanks for looking up the price of the Wild West Bowie. That's what I was going to say. So if you really want to go inexpensive, check out the Black Bear machete. I think it's called the Black Bear. It's a cold steel. It's a Bowie, and I've seen it with the swedge sharpened, the back edge of it sharpened, and looks like a pretty sweet. And that's like a $30 way to get into a Bowie. But then again, if you want to put it on your desk to show off, I'd stick with the Wild West. All right. Yeah, there we go. The Black Bear Bowie machete. Yeah, that thing looks sweet, I gotta say. I do like it. And then I always liked their sub hilt. They had that sub hilt right above there. I always loved their version of that too. Okay, so in knife life news, I'm curious if anyone has seen this yet. Civivi is releasing their 3rd Elijah Isham design, and it's called the Lazar. And and it immediately made me think: is it after Bob Lazar? As we all know, Elijah Isham designs a lot of his knives are sort of otherworldly, and some of the names are evocative of that. And then I saw this, which I think is a pretty beautiful knife. I think his design language is becoming more and more refined, a little less audacious. And I just think that this is a pretty classy looking and somewhat simple knife. But we all know that he's got that sort of sci-fi sort of connection, fascination, if you will. And I was just curious. Lazar, interesting name. So I was just curious if this is Bob Lazar. Who knows? But what do you think of this knife? I think it's VG10. It's a Civivi, and it's got this purple. I love that purple handle. I am a sucker for the purple. And that upswept blade looks nice. I got to say, this reminds me a little bit of a Sinkovich. Maybe it's the handle or something, that triangular cutout right at the base of the blade. That's very Elijah Isham, as is, I guess, the rest of it. But something about that handle, something about the handle to blade ratio, it reminds me of a Sinkovich. I have the Black Bear and the other Bowie machete, cold steel made. Oh, I remember that one. That has a wicked point. Yeah, that one has a less complicated handle. That has that grippy handle and more traditional machete handle. Women Carry Knives says, ooh, that purple. I know. Something about purple is very, I guess it's royal and holy and all of that. Isham's ergos are surprisingly good, even on the fantasy models. Shane, I like that you call them fantasy models, because just because they're fantasy knives doesn't mean they're cheesy. I always thought his most artistic designs were still pretty damn cool. Isham designs are cool, but often too small for me, right? And with the Megatherium being the one that isn't. That's a cool looking knife, the Megatherium. But it really forces your hand into, if I'm remembering the handle correctly, it really does kind of force your hand into an ergonomic bind, if you will. I don't want to say bind. What do I want to say? Like leaves you with a little choice in terms of how you hold it. Anyway, cool guy. I love that little Bowie, the little double detent Bowie that he made under his own shingle. What the hell was that thing called? A little tiny Bowie knife. And I always thought it would make a really cool blown up Bowie knife. And then it ends up he thought the same thing and made one for Blade Show 2 years ago, I think. But just a great looking Bowie shape. And, on that small little knife, blew it up to that big knife. And so Elijah Isham, what do you think? Third design Civivi. Are you going to get it? Is this something you're interested in? That triangular hole there, is that now becoming part of his signature? Is that part of his signature? Does it look like a Sinkovich? Let me know. Shane says they're fantasy looking, but work great in my opinion. Yeah, I've always kind of gotten, except with maybe the one that that first came out, the Acrobus something. That has the couple of different blade grinds. Oh, he made the horse crippler. That was huge. Okay, so that's what it was. The horse crippler was, that blade shape was based on the little flip joint that he made. Yes. Oh, horse crippler. Good name too. Good name, no doubt. Yeah, Isham. I've never had an Isham design. But I think his stuff is cool. Anyone know if the Wii Sear is a good call? I pre-ordered it and should be getting it on the 3rd or so. Only 610 made, 20 CV hand rubbed. Okay, the Wii Sear. I can't say I know which one that is, so I'm going to look that up on the Googleator really quickly. The Wii Sear. See? Images. Nope. I'm not finding it. I'm seeing a lot of real flaky ads and stuff, but so I don't know. I don't know what's up with that, but the Wii Sear. Anyone know? Let us know. What do you think of the Wii Sear? Interesting. Well, I guess that's what you get. Wii starts naming their knives names, and then they become, oh, Jim. Love you, Jim. The Wii 200. Oh, so you were just about to get to the picture. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's nothing new for Wii, I'd say, but I like those little gills. I think that is the one. I think that is the one, Jim. I kind of like the gills cut into the handle. I do like that blade shape. It is. There's just enough drop to the top that it looks pretty nice. I gotta say, I don't like the holes in the clip. I don't like extra holes in pocket clips like that, unless it's a long sort of thing like in a XM18 or something like that. I just don't like the little holes. They look cheap to me. I think they make a knife. This is no doubt going to be a $250 or $300 Wii knife. And the holes in the pocket clip just evoke the gas station knife. Am I wrong about that? Someone tell me I'm wrong about that. And I'd be interested to hear why you don't think that those holes make a clip and a whole knife look kind of cheap. Maybe they're there as sort of a jimping kind of thing. Maybe they're there to increase your grip. The fat of your fingers sink into those little holes, and you can extract the blade from your pocket in a quicker, more deft motion, perhaps. But I don't know. They don't reduce enough weight to be practical. I think it's just a visual thing, and I don't like it. Peter says, pre-order on the Knife Center. I just found out the Seer looks like an awesome knife. So I just found out that Blade HQ moved to Virginia. I don't know how I missed that, but they used to be in Idaho or Utah. And they moved to Virginia. So they're here. They're not very close or convenient, but they're in my state now. And somehow I still don't get stuff from them any quicker. Man, they love Blade HQ, but they take their time. I swear they take their time between getting the order pushed through and then having it arrive at your door. There's always like a long period of time there. Am I the only one who thinks that, or is that I don't know. 216 and change, he says. 216 and change, says Peter. Borrowed the clip from a Civivi. Okay, finally. All right, I have a fellow traveler here. Yeah, I agree. As you know, I like that clip, says Shane Gables. Well, Shane, you're wrong. You're entitled to your opinion, and you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, you do like that clip. I don't, though. I just don't. The holes, all the extra holes. Professor EDC says, you are wrong, Bob. I used to think the same thing, but then came the Hellraiser. I am glad they put all the holes in the Hellraiser blade, because that's been the one thing stopping me from getting a Hellraiser. And you know what? It's like, that's fine by me. The fewer $300 knives I buy, the better. I'm sorry, Jim, can you go to that last yours wrong, and then after that. It was an impulse buy. Got you. I'm familiar with that concept. Ian says, Wii titanium flippers are not a sub collection I'd want to dive into. They all look so similar. I gotta say, Ian, I'm agreeing with you. We started off, just out of the gate with a million knives that were all different and interesting. Not that I liked them all, but we really started off, strong with a lot of variation in their design. And now I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of drop points that look vaguely I don't know. I kind of lost track with what their stuff is on the whole. But it's all nice. The Seer looks like a cousin to the Upshot. Not sure I know the Upshot. JN. Michael, check the requirements for Blade West. Therapeutic Edge. Blade HQ is where I look at knives. I buy elsewhere. Yeah, they do have a nice. What I like is that you can go back in time and see old knives on their website. You just can't buy them, obviously. But What's Blade HQ's status for selling auto knives? I don't know. Is the state going to ban them? That's the thing. They cannot legally sell them from here in Virginia. I don't think. I mean, they're not legal here. So Shane says, I'm going to give Blade HQ another shot. Maybe the move hindered them for a while. Yeah, maybe. I think when they were firmly ensconced in their own location, they still had a reputation for maybe taking a minute. Move? Where did Blade HQ move to? To Virginia, state of Virginia. I would say like Central Virginia, maybe. Knife Center is also in Virginia, which is nice. Upshot equals Wii tie flipper. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, that's a relatively new one. The Upshot. Yeah, remember that. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't mean to diss on Blade HQ in general. I think they're a good company. They have a lot on offer. They have a lot in the way of public engagement that I like. I like their videos. They've always had kind of good people working there, it seems, and variety. But man alive, sometimes they take their time to get orders out. They're in Marion, Virginia. That's right, Marion, Virginia. Not too close to us. Maybe a day trip. That'd be kind of cool. So, yeah, let me know what you think about that. So I'm curious about, what do you think? I do have a knife fight tonight. What do you think of the ugly but practical versus pretty but impractical? I mean, is this something you consider? Before, who was it? Maybe Caleb was saying he collects cool and crazy, interesting grinds. That's all. That's an interesting way of collecting. Sometimes that does mean pretty but unpractical. Other times you can have practical and totally interesting. But I'm not going to launch into some fight with myself. I would love to have one of you come on here and we debate. Incognito says, the only thing I like about Blade HQ is the engraving, but they doubled the price to do it. Ooh, engraving. DLT does engraving too. I like DLT. Blade Hobby says, dig in the mug, Bob. Oh, awesome. I'm glad. Hawaii says, just found an early Civivi Statera. Very wee styling. Statera. I feel like I remember that. An early Civivi Statera. Yeah, I don't know. I've been... Who do you like better? Is it Wii or is it Riyadh? I don't know, because I have a couple of OEMs from both of them, and they're awesome. They just make great knives. Shane says, I've only ordered in the last few months, so I wasn't aware it was a trend that they're slow. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's a trend. It's happened to me a couple of times, but you know how it is. You get excited about a purchase and you just want it to arrive right away. But oftentimes with most companies, you'll get something with a tracking number, and I've had it happen many times with Blade HQ that they're like, yeah, we got your order, and then it shows up 10 days later or something like that. DLT and Knife Ship Free are stellar shops. I couldn't agree with you more. Riyadh, hands down. Riyadh. Okay, that's kind of what I thought I would hear, and I have to say I do agree, especially with this Riyadh made antimatter. I love this thing. Another double-edged knife, but this a folder. DLT is always super fast, says Ketmuk. Yeah, and I always thought Knives Ship Free was really good too. But yeah, it happens how it just shows up without any sort of in-between communication. I do like the in-between communication. But we and Kubi are catching up where OEM is concerned. Yeah, Kubi seems to be something else. I like WMK a lot. WMK, what's that? WMK. Workman knives, WMK. Is that right? Shane says, I made a large order for Christmas and got it in 4 shipments over a 2-week span. Yeah. Well, sometimes I think that maybe they don't have things that they say they have, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a shipping thing. But yeah, I got to go back through my records. It occurred to me the other morning that way back when I ordered one of those, I ordered that sway back. I think it was a CJRB or something. It was a sway back that Swags, the former knife personality Swags designed, and I think I ordered it and it never showed up. So now I have to go back through my orders and see if I actually ordered. I mean, this would have been over a year ago at this point when I bought like a whole White Mountain knives. Yes, sir. I bought a whole bunch of stuff from Blade HQ, and I was just thinking, I did order that, didn't I? And it never showed up. So I got to see about that. Pretty-But-Impractical is like my arcane antimatter in Damasteel. Yes. Well, impractical, Ryan, it just depends on what you consider practical. Are you infiltrating the lair of your arch nemesis? If so, not so impractical, you know? Redacted says, I have some stellar Kubi knives, and every Wii I've purchased is absolutely wonderful. I cannot disagree with that. I've had the same experience. Where does Kaiser fit into all of that? I've had great experience with Kaiser. Somehow they get a little bit sneered at. So how do you feel about Kaiser? Kubi has really been stepping up their game, says Ezekiel and Jonathan. What do you guys think? Kaiser? Yes? Is Kaiser just, are they chopped liver at this point? Best Tech is making a lot of great models. They are, and they're doing a lot of great stuff for other people. Hey, Sean, great to have you here, sir. He says, hey, Bob, Shane Gables, White Mountain Knives is cheaper and faster. No tax, no shipping, and love that LTK 10% off code. Okay, love them knives, 10% off code. I think that's what LTK means. Kaiser made the Swags sway back. Okay, Kaiser. Yeah, that never showed up, I don't think. But what do you think of Kaiser? I mean, I think, like, for instance, this is the most recent Kaiser I've had, and I love it. This inversion, it's awesome. They still know how to do it. Best Tech is an aggregator. They make very few parts in-house. I've got a friend that visited their tiny factory. Really? Interesting. That's interesting. I would think they have a huge factory because I know they do a lot of, so maybe they subcontract. I've had nothing but perfection from Kaiser. I own a lot of Kaisers, and every single one has zero issues at all. I used to have the old, what was that called? All right. Oh, Matt Cucciara. A couple of the Cucciara knives. They were awesome. Loved them. And then I sold them to get new stuff that is awesome. But I wish I could keep everything. Kaiser fell off the map last year. Changes in management and staff killed them. So, but do you think it killed them? I mean, did it legitimately kill them as a company, or do you mean they're just not as good anymore? I'm curious what you mean by that. My Kubi action is better than my Civivi. Interesting. Kubi's designs are becoming less cheesy, I would say. I would say that for the first couple of years they were on my radar, their stuff was a little bit over-designed. Evolved EDC says, Kaiser and Tucson making the best bang for buck knives available, hands down. I do think you get good bang for your buck with Kaiser, and then Tucson, my experience has only been with 4 knives that were on loan. They were all really nicely made. Shredder says, yes, absolutely no complaints about any of our Kaisers. Yeah, so we just gave away the Doman. That was last week's Gentleman Junkie giveaway that went off to Chris Wolf. And man alive, I really like that Doman. It's a very, kind of understated classic pocket knife, but just really nicely made. Ian said, I have some great Kaisers I got on sale because no one else was buying them. Yeah, well, it's a fickle public. Kubi is greater than Civivi, says Shane Gables. Interesting. Love the Kaiser horn. Which one is the horn? Don't know which one that is. Two Sons are insane for what you pay. I agree. And the fact that they make so many different designs, they're constantly coming up with a new design and numbering it, and however that works. But I can't believe their capacity for making new knives. Peter says they're making a comeback, but they lost 2 years of production. Damn. Okay. Well, good. I mean, I hope they come back stronger and better than ever. I do love it when companies make it easier for you to enjoy the designs of otherwise out of reach custom makers. So hopefully Kaiser picks back up with that. My Kaiser T1 and Sea Lion, I got them buy one, get one free on, wow. Damn. Best deal ever. Buy one, get one free. That's pretty awesome, man. Jeez. They're not that bad, people. I've had 40 plus Two Sun knives and only one had issues, came with no clip. But now they are expensive. Oh, I didn't know that. So they're no longer the $60 to $100 wonder knife. I guess they've realized their worth. Redacted says, if someone wants an absolutely fantastic example of a Kubi, check out the Atlas. Holy smokes, what a knife, he says. The Atlas, the Kubi Atlas. Well, let me just see here. Sorry. You're like, why am I watching this person search the internet? Kubi Atlas. Ooh, yeah, nice. And it's sitting there right next to the Kubi Raven. I really liked that Raven. That was a giveaway knife that we gave away several months back. Really love that knife. It was way more. It felt like way more money than the inexpensive knife that it was. So for sure. All right. So I want to get to this this knife fight. Is anyone going to come on here and knife fight me? What do you think? Kubi Atlas. There it is. Look at that. That is pretty damn cool. Pretty cool. Sorry. Just gazing upon its beauty. All right. So here it is. Ugly but practical versus pretty but impractical. It's going to take me a second here. Okay. I don't have it with me. But ugly but practical really has to go to the PM2. The most beloved, one of the most beloved EDC knives out there. Let's just face it, people. It is not a pretty looking knife. There are few knives that feel better in hand. There are few knives that perform better than the Paramilitary 2. And that is from whence its value comes. It is a great and practical knife for all your cutting needs, and it will fit your hand in a variety of different grips, and no matter how big your hand is. However, that sucker is not very good looking. Okay. Does that matter? Is that just a matter of taste? Well, I would say no. I would say that it's not a matter of taste. I would say that it's a matter of, mathematics. You look at it and there's something off about it. However, when you have it in hand and you have something to cut, you will find its value really outshines the superficial. And scene. Chris Wolf says definitely an ugly duckling. Ugly but practical all the way, says Sean. But Sean, you haven't heard the argument for pretty but impractical. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Well, are you here to knife fight?
Do you have audio from me?
I do.
Okay.
My gosh, Peter, you look different from last time I saw you, man.
Well, I was thinking about your question, your knife fight.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've got a pretty big collection, about 200 knives.
Yeah.
And I sort of realized that ugly is such a personal thing. Like, I love the classic Bowie, but compared to modern outdoor like fixed blades, that is an ugly knife. And yet it's super functional.
Wait.
Right?
Wait. No, wait. The classical Bowie is ugly? Is that what you're saying?
Hang on just a second. But are you still on the phone? Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I'm my problem, man, is that I've lost my audio for you. Can you give me just a second to bring you up on another computer?
Oh, sure. So I believe I just heard Peter say that he thought that the classical Bowie is ugly compared to modern outdoor knives. Maybe I didn't hear that because I would have to disagree with him, but I think that is his whole point. I think his entire point is, what sometimes the beauty of something comes out of its practicality. James says, I still haven't found a budget knife I like more than the Civivi Backlash, one of their early models. Yeah, that Backlash. Beautiful knife. And that's another one that had sort of leaf-shaped blade that was, with that deep hollow grind. That was a really nice knife. Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I'm wrestling, man. Give me 1 second. I need to find my, Bob, I'll drop out, but I can't find my headset.
Oh, man. Well, okay. You can still hear me? Nod yes if you can.
If I find it in the next couple of minutes, I'll come back.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
All right.
Take care. So yeah, very interesting. So pretty but impractical would have to be, we were talking about Elijah Isham before. I have yet to see an ugly Bowie. Thank you, Incognito. I feel exactly the same way. It's kind of like, I know there's good pizza and bad pizza, but I even like bad pizza. I always have. Excuse me. Bomb dropped. Classical Bowie is beautiful in my opinion, but yes, beauty is subjective. Yeah, exactly. He's like, my audio doesn't work, but I just want to drop in here that Bowies are ugly. See ya. Just kidding. Pretty but impractical. Elijah Isham. A lot of those older ones are pretty but impractical. So I think that, yeah, Bowies are beautiful. I agree. The CFK Brutus is very impractical. It is pretty but very impractical. Okay, well, I haven't made much of an argument, but my point is, shoot, sorry about that. No problem, Peter. We were just kind of laughing at how you came in here and declared Bowie's ugly and then dipped, and we can't even say anything. Shane says, I'm not a Bowie fan either. I mean, it's like not being a water fan. It's like, yeah, no, I don't like ice. Well, what do you mean you don't like ice? The guy said, we would take practical over pretty any day. Okay, so maybe this is where pretty becomes practical, because to me, or where practical becomes pretty, like not having a purpose can make something ugly after a while. What I meant to say that beauty is subjective. No, I understand that. We get that. And you're right. It is, even though like there seem to be certain, visual ratios that feel better on the eye, that are more balanced. Or maybe that is just subjective too. Just realized I don't have any impractical knives. Should get one. Yes, you should. And here's how I would suggest you approach getting an impractical knife. I would say get an impractical knife that seems impractical when you get it. You know, like most of us don't need a combat stiletto. But if you get one of these, you'll enjoy having it. And then heavens to Betsy, who knows? Maybe it becomes practical one day, heaven forbid. I mean, but, you know, impractical like this is the way to go, I think. Impractical like an art knife, well, maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's your thing. Pretty but impractical, any Benchmade gold class. Okay, so I recently saw, who did the video recently of the gold class Jared Oser flipper knife. That looked cool. That was the first time I've ever seen a gold class where I was like, damn, that's nice. Like otherwise it's usually, I don't know. I don't like how they look. Peter says the size of the Bowie is impractical. Yeah, right. Especially, you know, with like a real classical Bowie with a 9-inch or 10-inch blade and a big fat slab. Yeah, if you're out there campside and you don't have to wear it around and you can just kind of pick it up and use it, that's one thing. Michael Morgan was going to say my cold steel Spartan was impractical, but not based on the situation. The Spartan, I love that knife. Looks like the old Copus from days of yore. Whoa, Peter. When the zombie apocalypse happens, you're going to want a Bowie. Yeah, I agree. Oh, man, but Peter, you know, I'd love for you to come back on. I love your knife collection. I've been coveting your Fox, your Goody Van Poppel's recent Fox Bowie knife. That thing is so cool. Not all Bowie blades look good, says North Code. I would agree with you on that. I would say that Bark River Knives does a couple of patterns of Bowie that are historically accurate that don't look like the Michigan Bowie. Ugh, it doesn't even look like a Bowie to me. So yeah, I guess I could give you that much. Shane says, Peter, finally we agree on something. Shane. Well, Shane, what is it? What's your style? Hinderer Ranch Bowie is one of the most beautiful Bowie knives I own. Beautiful. It is a beautiful, and they know the Hinderer Bowies, especially the XM24, the 4-inch version of the Bowie. They're beautiful. I love how they look. I think the 3.5-inch model doesn't have the full length to express itself exactly how it should be, but still is nice. Incognito says Bowies are the ultimate fighting blade and still have left for camping. Still have left for camping. Almost any blade shape can do both. Can't do both. I agree with you. I think the Bowie is a great knife because it's an all-arounder. Hinderer Bowie, practical size. Yep. I love that big sweeping clip. It's beautiful. Cold steel full dressed Espada. That's impractical. That's an impractical blade I want. So right there, Professor, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Probably impractical, but there could be a time when, I mean, it could be used if need be. It's not just a wall hanger. The K-Bar 17-inch kukri machete is the most practical knife ever made, says Richard Wynn. Probably like a good population of the world carries a machete on a regular basis. In a zombie apocalypse, I'd use my JX5, which is a silly knife, yet I wouldn't do without it. This is the JX5. That's the recent Bowie of his design with the longish handle. Is that right? Shane says I prefer a large drop points. All right. Can't argue with that. Here's a large drop point that I love. I love this knife. This is the RTAC 2. Mike, good to have you here. Hinderer Bowie Eclipse is sweet. I agree. The Eclipse Bowie looks great, and the 24 Bowie, XM24 Bowie looks great, I think. Hawaii Knife and Gear says zombies. I'll be happy I have a Schrade Leroy Bowie around. That Leroy Bowie, that's pretty cool, actually. That's the one with the squarish handle that came out a couple of years ago. Big blade. It's a nice looking knife. What did Crocodile Dundee carry? He carried an Outback Bowie, man. Hey, you don't have to convince me. He wasn't carrying this, though. This is a nice knife.
Love you, Mommy. I will.
Hey.
Let me get Peter.
Oh, okay.
Bye. Hang on. Pete was saying he couldn't get on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was having trouble getting on.
Let me log you out of my phone. Hang on. So, you want to talk to him?
Michael says, Christine.
Hi.
Hey.
All right, we're going to try this and see if it works.
Sounds good.
There you are.
Now you can hear better.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we were all just busting on what you were saying about Bowies before.
Look, man, I'm old, right? There was a time when the Bowie was the only knife, right? That or you get yourself a, like a K-bar of some sort. It was the only thing. And my problem with classics like that is that the reason that modern knife design has sort of moved away from it is because people have discovered that while they were phenomenal, I mean, the Bowie is basically a short sword. But for actual camp use and functionality, there's better. It doesn't mean they're not beautiful, but we were talking, the question was, are they sort of impractical?
Yeah.
And as somebody who spends, at least it used to spend a ton of time camping, I don't get to anymore. It makes me sad. Trying to use a Bowie around camp was like trying to use the JX5 to cut salami. I mean, it'll do it, but it's impractical. And so the Bowie has turned into a more beautiful but impractical knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it depends. The question is what's better, and I don't think there's a real answer because it comes down to what you do. I certainly wouldn't carry my JX5, to be my all-around camp knife because it just won't do the job very well, and I feel the same about a lot of tools. But I have a ton of folders that are, to many people, ugly. To me, they're beautiful. Are they totally functional? No, absolutely not. If I want functional, I'll carry my XM24.
Right.
It's an ugly knife, but it's absolutely functional. So, come on.
I think it's beautiful.
Big, blocky beast. What it is an excellent knife, but it lacks refinement.
I could see that.
You know what I mean? It's a brick, but boy, it's a brick that when you pop that blade out, it's going to do whatever you want it to.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I wanted to pop on. I was like, this is a knife fight that I don't think you can really pick sides unless you're a guy that loves a particular, like people that love Emersons, like you.
Yeah.
Emersons are not what I would call a beautiful knife, but I'll bet they are to you.
Right. You know how something, I don't know, this happened throughout my life many times, music or a dish or some sort of something, which are people, which people that I didn't like, suddenly all of a sudden they're best friends. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I think that could happen with this too.
I agree. No, I agree, man. And I think it really falls down. Like I said, it's a really personal thing, right? And that's why that really is what drew me to pop on. And the why I went for Bowies first, because I know you love them. But, for instance, Shane Gables has got an absolutely gorgeous knife. Shane, your knife is beautiful, but it's tipped down. And so I wouldn't have it. Because to me, that's
Tip up. Shane, up.
It's right. Tip up only, Shane. But it's that place at which a knife just falls out of my sort of realm.
Right.
A lot of people love that. I don't. And I don't because when I was a kid, everything was tipped down. And I feel like we moved past it. But that's one of the weird things about being, 50 and how fast the knife community moves, the knife industry. I know I'm ancient, right? I'm so old. Is that people
I'm 50 too, man.
I'm 50 in October, so that's okay.
But you both look it, and I don't. So, so in trouble. I'm just kidding.
It's funny because we can't see the chat.
Right, we can't see the chat. We can only see you, so I don't know what people are saying.
Oh,
But I think it's really subjective. I think to me, when I suggest knives to people, I mean, it's weird. I know I've got a channel and people think that it's where people give me a level of expertise that I probably don't have, but I suggest almost entirely practical knives, things like the Hogue Deca or, any number of like Kershaw's or, or the Ritter Hogue, stuff like that, because they're not pretty. But I know that 2 years from now, they're still going to have that knife and they're going to work. And then there's the next level.
Right. And I know you operate in that next level a bit.
A little. I recently did a video where I reviewed, I've got a Nick Chuprin custom that's a very expensive knife. And I've come to a place where I've realized that my happy place just for price is between about $200 and about $600. Anything more than that, I'm definitely afraid to carry it because I can't afford to replace it. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. I feel the same way about custom fixies too. I've got some really great ones, but if I broke it or screwed it up, I'd be without it. And so I tend to carry much more inexpensive stuff because that's where my passion lays.
Yeah, and you want to know that you can use a thing without ruining it, without going into receivership. Just because you carry it and you ruin it, so that you can really miss out on enjoyment if you're too uptight about something.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was to suddenly discover a career path that my income quadrupled, okay. Like I said, to me, it comes down to the replacement factor. And I feel the same way. Let's bring it back to, sort of pretty and impractical versus, there are people on Instagram that share knives that are made out of every possible type of Damascus. They look like a bad acid trip to me.
Yeah.
People love them. They go crazy for them, but they're so trippy looking that I would be afraid to sort of touch the thing because I wouldn't want to put fingerprints on it. I'd be like, no. And yet, there are people that's entirely their jam. That to me is where beautiful becomes impractical. When the knife itself is so special, so handmade, so one of a kind, that if you drop it, you're going to cry for a month.
Yeah.
And it's moved out of any sort of reasonable function.
Yeah, definitely. And just knowing that it's, you don't buy a Picasso print and then carry that around with you.
I have one folded up in my wallet, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's the same thing. Carrying around something like that can be totally nerve-wracking. I know there's some people who don't think so, and who it's all about, just carrying.
Which is why we're back to that subjective place. Yeah. Dirk Warning, who you've had on your channel and who is a good friend of mine and a super nice guy, that dude has a knife collection that is out of this world. Just gorgeous art level pieces that are beautiful and yet totally functional. And yet when he takes them out of his case to share with me, I'm afraid to even hold them for too long. Yeah. So that's where the impracticality comes in. Are you going to say something?
No.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, I think as long as, there's certain things that I have. I'm just looking around my desk here. There are certain things that I have that I feel I couldn't replace only because of the sentimental value. That also has a big value for me. And then there are other things that I feel like should have that, like, this Medford Praetorian. Recently, I've been looking at it like, what, the minute I saw the first Medford Praetorian, I thought it was ridiculous. And then sort of I allowed my mind to come around to thinking it was a cool knife. I spent the money, I have it, I never carry it. Like, is this one I should get rid of? This is the kind of thing that goes through my mind all the time with different things. And
there's even a place where size becomes an impracticality, right? Yeah. I work now, I just started, but I'm working in school campuses again, and I don't mean colleges, school campuses. Yeah. And so my big knife collection is going to get a lot less carry, and my small knives are going to get a lot more time because I can't have a giant knife hanging out of my pocket anymore.
I mean, my knives are going to start disappearing now.
Right? Her women carry knife-sized knives are going to start getting pocket time because it just can't.
And I'll start carrying his.
It's cute because they pull your pants down.
They really do. Some of them really do.
But I don't know, man. I think that's everyone. Like I said, everyone is different, and of course, use and function is different. But I loved your question, so I thought I'd come on and bug you.
Oh, cool, man. Thank you. Oh, it's never a bug. I always appreciate it. There's nothing, nothing more humiliating than sitting here arguing with myself and losing, So no, it's great to have you. Great to see you.
So if you want to have the fight, then pick a side, because I'll pick the other side.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'll take Pretty-But-Impractical.
I'll take Ugly But Practical.
Okay.
All right. You want to give yourself a couple,
Right, I'm rooting for you, Bob.
You want to give yourself a couple of minutes and go for it first?
We get a minute and a half apiece.
Okay.
And I'll let you go first. All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
The knife community is awash in overly pretty knives that don't really function that well. Ugly but practical knives serve not only the purpose they're designed for, but are easy to share with other people. Things like the Emerson knives, which have left beauty far behind, but in the interest of pure practicality and function, set the tone for what a useful knife should be. All of us here have that 1 or 2 knives that when we're showing off our knives to our friends, stay in the drawer. But if we're going out into the woods or into the dark or somewhere where we need a good knife, it's what goes into the pocket. I think that's the reason that the Ritter Hogue, for instance, which is not an attractive knife, but that thing just works, lives in my collection because I may always need it. My other example is the 8010. Demko makes some really fascinating and beautiful designs, but in the 8010, he built essentially the perfect tank. It is indestructible, it is totally usable, and yet it isn't pretty. And I think really in the end, that's what the knife community should lean farther into, because those are the knives that your most average users are going to find the most value in. And I'm not sure if that's a minute or a half, but that's a minute and a half. That's where I'm going to stop.
That was a minute 10. And man, that was a good argument. Now I'm totally, I got to come up with something. All right, here we go. Okay.
You got this, Bob. Come on.
Yeah. Life has become a joyless hellscape. And I'm just kidding. No.
Bob wins.
No. It seems to me that that if you need a perfectly usable, perfectly practical knife, there are many different, very inexpensive options you can go, you can choose, and it will add utility and function to your everyday carry and to your life. You will muddle through being able to take care of tasks, and that will be a good thing. And you will have a knife, and you will have a wrench, and you will have a wallet, and you will have a car, and you'll have various things that help you get jobs done. And that is good, because that's what tools are for. However, I think that if you're watching this, or if you indeed watch knife videos at all, or have a collection of knives, you know that there's something a little bit deeper than just practicality and usage in this fascination with knives. There are many different tools out there, but there are very few that hold such a fascination, like knives do. And so for that reason, adding joy to your life through design and through, what am I trying to say? Through design and through, let's say, top flight manufacturing, it transcends just the practical, and it adds a dimension of joy to your life that needs to be embraced. And you can do that with a practical knife. That can be done, but it can be done easier and with greater frequency with a beautiful but impractical knife.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
That's good, man.
No. No, that was not very good. But
so, I to be fair, do you know who the Toastmasters are?
Yes, I do.
So I have I used to do that. And I love debate. I teach college classes, man. Spontaneous lectures are my jam. So come on. No, you did really well. And here's the funny thing is I agree with you 100%. If I had to give up any portion of my knife collection, it would be the stuff that it'd be the users, because it's the pretty stuff. It's the art that keeps drawing me back to this collection. So here at the very end, I hope everybody gives it to you, because I actually agree with you. The life is full of just useful things, and that's great. But to have a collection means loving the art and the beauty of the thing, you know. And then my beauty may be different from yours, maybe different from everybody else's in the, you know, on the chat right now. But that's got to be the driving factor, or else, you know, you're going to end up with a whole collection of sacks.
Yeah,
because they're just useful. You know, they're just a great little useful knife, which is fine. If people collect Swiss Army knives, it's awesome. But you know, I mean, just the red ones. You won't have the fancy scales, and you won't have the ones with pretty designs, or you won't have the trash panda designs.
right.
You know, you'll just have the red ones, and you'll have 6 of the tinkerers because they work, and you'll have one in your car and one in your pocket. But that's not what we do. We chase beauty to us. We chase, you know, and this, I used to be into guns. That's just I used to be into firearms. And I used to always say that pew-pews. I used to always say that form follows function equals beauty. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's actually not my quote. That's a quote that I got from somewhere a long time ago, but that's the truth of it. And so beauty is where you find it. And I hope everybody here looks at their knife collection tonight and goes, yeah, my collection's beautiful. And that guy, Pete, he's got an ugly collection or whatever, because that should be the point. So I agree with you, dude.
Yeah. There's something transcendent about it. That's what we love about it. There's something that, but to me, who has a huge collection, you know, a sizable collection of things that get carried and rarely used, you know, the grass is frequently greener on the other side. And I do wish I had more uses for these things, carrying them around so they're not just accessories. It's not like I'm just, you know, carrying
it. The grass isn't greener.
What's that?
The grass isn't greener. Water your own grass.
No. But you know what I'm saying? Like I kind of wish I had more purpose for these things sometimes, but I guess maybe.
You know, man, I agree with you. I wish I had more pockets or more time in the day. When I had 2 jobs, I was being a therapist and teaching at college. I used to come home between those 2 events. My hand's over here. This is very confusing. And I used to switch knives because it gave me an opportunity to carry more than one knife in a day, you know. And you know, I've got 15 or 16 Spydercos and 14 Benchmades. You want to talk about functional knives that aren't that pretty.
Yeah.
And yet I love them because they just do what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Where's your birthday knife, Bob?
It's right here.
That thing is just sick. Look at that.
That is so wicked, man.
I love this.
Cool.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, it is.
But that's cool.
What is the style of knife? That is. I was just looking at a Cold Steel that's got that same handle on it.
It's a Bob Loveless. So it's a Loveless sub-hilt fighter.
That thing is fantastic.
That's the sub-hilt. Yeah, I love this thing. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful piece of workmanship. It's also just, you know, incredibly, you know, it has all of that, everything that I've loved about knives since I was a kid. You know, I mean, it's got the menace, it's got the, you know, it's got the practicality of a sub-hilt fighter. You know, we all know that we need that sub-hilt, but you know, I love it. And it was made especially for me. And I know that there was some tribulation that went into it. So I'm actually going to have the maker, Matt Chase, back on the show to talk about this build, because he had to make a tool and buy a couple of special things.
I have great envy.
Yeah, that is
so
very cool.
Gorgeous.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. That's
absolutely out of this world.
I love it, and it's also just now it's incredibly sentimental to me.
See?
So
speaking of, you were talking about Isham a lot earlier. I mentioned, but I don't know if you caught it in the chat. I will send you the Megatherium to look at if you haven't had one in hand.
Oh, okay. I have not. Yeah, I'd be interested in checking that out. It's a really cool looking knife. It does look like it kind of forces your hand into a certain position.
It's a love it or hate it design, and feel free, whatever you feel about it is what you feel about it. And that's great. It's one of the, so I had about 14 or 15 of the late 17, early 18 Kaisers, that generation of big, heavy, all titanium kind of thick slices of S35 VN knives. And I've pared it down quite a bit, but that one I keep because it's so different from anything else. There just isn't going to be another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'll send that right along to you. I'll get it out this week, and you can take a look.
That'd be great, man. That would be great. I'd really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure, man. And I'll wait. You can send me that birthday knife anytime. And
yeah, I'll send it right along.
No, his past. Mine's coming up, so just send it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Yes.
All right,
man, that's a really special piece.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I'm very excited about it. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's really great to see your faces again. It's been a long time.
You too, man.
And
we'll hope to catch you. Hopefully we can get together next year at Blade East.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You're not going to make it to Blade West, right?
No, that's the weekend of my wife's birthday, so that will not be happening.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
No,
sure. Happy birthday for us.
We will indeed. Early. I will indeed.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. All right.
Bye.
See you later. That's Christine and Peter. Take care, guys. And gal. All right. Well, that's about me for this Thursday Night Knives. I'm so psyched that Peter came on to debate me. I mean, man, out of the gate, he started talking. I was like, oh, damn, I'm in some serious trouble again. I keep running into these. Doug Ritter, he shellacked me as well. So it feels good, to have some good competition on here for these ridiculous knife fights that I create for our enjoyment. So be sure to check us out. Sunday is JB Stout. I'm talking with JB Stout. Really cool guy, great knife maker. I love his work. Also check out next Wednesday for the supplemental, and then of course Thursday Night Knives. We love doing this, and we will be back. So we will see you next week. Until then, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, don't take dull for an answer.